Ever wonder why some people can walk into a room and instantly command attention, while others seem invisible? Or why you sometimes get that weird feeling about someone before they've even said a word? Today, I'm going to reveal some of the most fascinating psychological secrets about the human mind that scientists have discovered, and trust me, some of these are going to change how you see everyone around you. What I'm about to share isn't just random facts, these are discoveries that completely changed how we understand human behavior. And the craziest part, most people have no idea these things are happening in their own minds right now. Let's start with something that might freak you out a bit. Right now, your brain is actively lying to you about reality. No, seriously. Scientists discovered that what you're seeing right now is actually happening about 80 milliseconds in the past. Your brain is basically running on delay, but here's where it gets wild, it's actually predicting the future to make up for this delay. Think about that for a second. Everything you think you're experiencing in real time is actually a prediction your brain made a fraction of a second ago. Pretty mind-bending, right? If you're already feeling like your brain just short-circuited, hit that subscribe button because what's coming next is even crazier. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this. Now, let's dive into something that affects every single interaction you have with other people. Scientists found that your brain makes up its mind about someone in less than 1/10 of a second. That's faster than you can consciously process their face. But here's the really interesting part, your brain is picking up on signals you're not even aware of. Let's break down what's actually happening in those split seconds. First, your brain is scanning for facial symmetry. The more symmetrical someone's face is, the more attractive we generally find them. But it goes way deeper than that. Your brain is simultaneously analyzing their posture, the micro-expressions on their face, the tone of their voice, and even their smell, all before you've had time to form a conscious thought. Speaking of smell, let's talk about something fascinating that happens when we're attracted to someone. Women can actually smell genetic compatibility. I'm not making this up, studies show that women prefer the natural body odor of men whose immune systems are different from their own. It's your body's way of ensuring genetic diversity in potential offspring. But here's where modern life throws a wrench in the works. Birth control pills can reverse this preference. Women on the pill tend to prefer the scent of men with similar immune systems to their own. Think about the implications of that for a second. A simple pill can literally change who you're attracted to on a biological level. Now, let's talk about something that might explain a lot of your past relationships. Have you ever wondered why you keep dating the same type of person, even when it never works out? There's actually a psychological reason for this. Your brain creates something called an attachment pattern in early childhood, and this pattern influences who you're attracted to as an adult. But here's the really interesting part, these patterns can be changed. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity, which means it can create new neural pathways throughout your life. So if you keep finding yourself in the same relationship patterns, you're not stuck there forever. Quick pause, if you're starting to question every relationship you've ever had, you might want to subscribe. Because what I'm about to reveal about the psychology of love will completely change how you see your past relationships. Let's dive into something really fascinating about human connection. Scientists discovered that when two people have a deep conversation, their heart rates actually synchronize. But it gets even wilder, their brain waves start to align too. This is called neural synchronization, and it happens without either person being aware of it. Think about the last time you really connected with someone. Maybe you lost track of time, felt like you could finish each other's sentences. That wasn't just in your head, your brains were literally getting in sync with each other. Now, let's talk about something that might change how you approach every social interaction from now on. Your body language isn't just expressing how you feel, it's actually creating how you feel. When you smile, even if you're faking it, your brain starts producing chemicals that make you feel happier. It's like your body is reverse engineering emotions. But here's where it gets really interesting. This doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone around you too. Your brain has special cells called mirror neurons that fire both when you do something and when you watch someone else do something. That's why you cringe when you see someone else get hurt, or why you can't help smiling when you see a baby laugh. Let's talk about something that might explain why you sometimes make decisions that seem crazy in hindsight. Your brain actually processes emotional pain in the exact same regions it processes physical pain. That's why rejection hurts so much. Your brain literally can't tell the difference between emotional pain and physical pain. This explains why people sometimes stay in bad relationships or make impulsive decisions when they're hurting emotionally. Your brain is treating that emotional pain like a physical injury that needs immediate attention. If you're finding this as fascinating as I do, there's another video right after this one about the psychology of decision making that'll blow your mind even more. But stick around, because what's coming next is equally mind-bending. Now, let's get into something really fascinating about female psychology specifically. Women's brains are actually better at reading emotional cues than men's brains. This isn't just a stereotype, it's backed by neuroscience. The female brain has more neural connections in areas related to emotional processing and memory. But here's where it gets really interesting. This ability gets even stronger during certain times of the month. During ovulation, women become significantly better at reading subtle emotional cues in faces. It's like their brain temporarily upgrades its emotional processing power. Let's talk about something that affects every single interaction you have: eye contact. Scientists found that maintaining eye contact for just 4 minutes can create feelings of deep connection and even love between strangers. But there's a catch: it only works if both people are open to the possibility of connection. During deep eye contact, your pupils dilate up to 45%. This is completely unconscious, you can't fake it. Your brain is literally opening up to let in more light so it can gather more information about the person you're looking at. Now, here's something that might explain why you sometimes get bad vibes from people for no apparent reason. Your brain processes about 11 million bits of information per second, but you're only consciously aware of about 40 bits. That means your gut feelings are often based on your brain picking up on subtle cues that never make it to your conscious awareness. Let's dive into something really fascinating about human memory. Every time you remember something, you're not actually remembering the original event, you're remembering the last time you remembered it. It's like making a copy of a copy, and each time, little details can change. This explains why two people can have completely different memories of the same event. Their brains have been making slightly different copies each time they remember it, slowly creating two different versions of the same reality. Speaking of reality, let's talk about something mind-blowing about perception. Your brain actually spends a lot of time lying to you about what you're seeing. It fills in blind spots, corrects colors, and even makes up information to create a seamless experience of reality. Take your blind spot, for example. Everyone has one in each eye where the optic nerve connects to the retina. But you never see these spots because your brain literally makes up what should be there based on the surrounding information. Right now, your brain is filling in parts of what you think you're seeing. If you're starting to question everything you thought you knew about how your brain works, hit subscribe. Because what I'm about to share next will really make you wonder what else your brain isn't telling you. Let's talk about something that might explain why you sometimes make bad decisions when you're emotional. The part of your brain that handles rational thinking, the prefrontal cortex, actually goes offline when you're experiencing strong emotions. This is why it's so hard to think clearly when you're angry or upset. But here's the really interesting part: you can actually train your brain to stay online during emotional situations. It's called emotional regulation, and it's one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Now, let's dive into something fascinating about human connection. Your brain processes social rejection in the exact same way it processes physical pain. But here's the wild part: taking Tylenol can actually help reduce the pain of social rejection. Yeah, you heard that right, the same pill you take for a headache can help with a broken heart. Let's talk about something that might explain why you sometimes feel differently about someone depending on where you meet them. Your brain associates emotions with locations. That's why running into your ex at a new restaurant doesn't feel as bad as seeing him at your old spots. This is called context-dependent memory, and it affects everything from your emotions to your ability to recall information. It's why students who study in the same room where they'll take the test tend to perform better. Now, here's something fascinating about group psychology. When you're in a group, your brain actually starts to synchronize with the people around you. This happens on a neural level. Your brain waves literally start to align with the group. This explains why you might find yourself laughing at something that isn't really funny just because everyone else is laughing, or why you might feel nervous in a room full of anxious people even if you have nothing to be anxious about. Let's talk about something that might change how you approach learning new skills. Your brain doesn't actually know the difference between real practice and imagined practice. When you vividly imagine doing something, your brain creates the same neural patterns as when you're actually doing it. This is why visualization is so powerful in sports and other skills. When you imagine yourself performing an action perfectly, you're actually strengthening the neural pathways for that action. Final engagement: if these psychology facts have been blowing your mind, there's another video right here about the neuroscience of habits that'll really help you understand why you do the things you do. Before we wrap up, let's talk about one last mind-bending fact. Your personality isn't as fixed as you might think. Studies show that your personality can change significantly over time, and you can actively influence these changes. Think about that: you're not stuck being who you are right now. Your brain is constantly creating new neural pathways, and you can actively shape who you become. Understanding these psychological facts doesn't make human behavior any less magical. If anything, it makes it more amazing. Because now you know just how incredibly complex and fascinating your brain really is. What was the most surprising psychological fact you learned today? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, your brain is processing this question right now in ways you're not even aware of.